is some kitties. I don't know one over here. Opal's not too fond of them. So, my latest porch ornament is a J35a3. And the reason that this is over here is because this will not cooperate. And I'm not one to give up. I'm not one to be like, hey, just because I don't get Chrysler or Jeep or AMC or whatever it is, just because I don't get the way they engineered stuff, I'm just going to rip it out because I'm going to put what I know in it. Well, that's kind of it, but not, you know, entirely. So, God, I am just sick and tired of putting money in this thing. The engine's amazing. And before any of the Jeep guys come after me, the 4-liter straight 6 is amazing. The Renix system is absolute garbage. All the electronics that run this engine, garbage, trash. They're terrible. And I don't know if it's just to this truck, which I'm willing to say that it's not, because we had to have, you know, there are tons of write-ups about these trucks, and there's tons of things that you have to go over. Cruiser 54 does an awesome job of doing all that. I've done everything. So let me get this open here. Oh Lord. Jeez. Okay. So the 4-liter straight 6, arguably 10 times better than that V6 on the porch. I get it. This and this and these and that and this up here, no, trash. And like I said, I'm not one to just give up on something. I mean, was certainly excited to have a new platform to mess with when it came to this Jeep. And, well, I played with it for well over a year. And it's still not right. I still can't drive it. I have driven this thing way, way less than I've replaced parts. I refreshed all my grounds. I did the fuel pump. I've changed some fuel line. I have replaced the injectors. I have tested so many things, made sure the timing wasn't out. Redid the entire cooling system, which, by the way, it still overheats. New coil, new ICM, new distributor, new wires, new plugs. I've done the transmission servicing. I've done the map sensor. I've done the harness. I bypassed the EGR to make sure that wasn't going to give me any problems later on. I have literally ruined the TPS harness on this thing trying to get it, you know, dialed in, and I've done that. I replaced the idle air control. I've done ECT sensor. I've done crankshaft position sensor. Everything. I've literally done it all. Everything, short of just ripping the whole harness out, replacing the harness, and putting a new ECU in it, which I'm not even convinced at this point that it would fix it, because it just will not act right. I get one thing done, I'm driving it, something else happens, and in true Jeep fashion, I'm just dry at this point, okay? I'm just tired of messing with it. So, if you don't know what I do, I am an Acura technician. I love Hondas and Acuras. I love Chevrolet LS stuff, even though, you know, this one is causing me some issues. It broke. I put some solenoids in it. It acted like it was going to do right, and it is also a yard ornament now. I don't know what's going on with that, and trust me, the 4L60E, I could go on about how absolutely terrible they are too. So, without making you think that I'm just completely angry and I want to burn this truck to the ground, which I don't at all, All this is coming out, every bit of it. So all that you see right here is gone. Just go ahead and think about that. It's gone. So everything from here, probably, you know, to here, gone. Getting removed. If I have to change the rear end, I will. But the tank, the lines, the trans, the engine, the harness, the ECU, probably the dash, the seat, all of this is coming out. Every bit of it. Every bit of wiring in this truck is going out and going into the trash. So, I don't know what they did to this truck, but I just can't get it right. No matter what I do, I fix something, 2 other things break, and I'm just tired of doing it. So, this brings me back to what I showed you over here. And this, my friends, is something that I am equal parts excited and very, well, you know what, I'll just say it. I'm not nervous at all. Because frankly, you know, I bought that truck for $700, and I've put over 700 in it to try and get it to run right, and it just won't. It just will not. So I'm gonna cut my loss, and I'm gonna rip all of that out, and we're putting this in it. J35a3. You can find these in the 01 to 02 Acura MDX and the Saturn, whatever that's called. Yeah. So the big thing is that, you know, of course, the trans sits here in an MDX or Saturn, and everything's facing this way. Well, now it's still going to be a rear-wheel drive action application. I mean, so this will come off. This has to be flipped. There is a Holley EFI makes an LS plenum. I guess LS1 whatever intake manifold plenum, and it's popular with these because it takes this whole big bulky intake, and there's a plate that goes here on these runners. When they come up, there's a plate that sits on top of this, and all of this, your spacer and this, goes away. And there's an adapter. Holley EFI sits about right here, and then it's got a throttle body. You can use an LS throttle body. So that's what we're gonna do. There's still a lot of stuff that has to be done, of course, before this can go in there. But of course, the manifolds, that's all gonna change. So right here is the kicker, because all of this goes away, that goes away, and Inline Pro makes an adapter for you can use a BMW ZF trans, you can use a CD009 350Z trans, which is more than likely what I'm going to use, 6-speed manual, and I think maybe you can get a T56, maybe, but I haven't looked into that either. But Inline Pro adapter, CD009 transmission, more than likely, regular you know, drive shaft, get that all built. Of course, the engine mounts are going to be a little iffy. I'm pretty sure, since this sits in the front, you know, sideways, that I think that oil pan, the sump for the pickup tube, I think the pickup tube, we're going to have to do away with this oil pan and have the pickup tube come down and kind of go back, because I'm thinking that it's probably going to sit something like this in the truck. So clearly we can't have it trying to pull from the front. It's going to starve it and it's going to ruin it. So this is just, you know, number one, this is literally just to inform the channel that things are about to get nuts, and they're about to get nuts in my driveway. I've been wanting to build something that nobody has really done for a long time, and of course, the J series being used in rear-wheel drive applications isn't. It's relatively recent, but it's nothing new. Like, people have put these in S2000s, they've put them in S13 and 14s. They've Boosted Boys has one or had one, had a J32 that was twin turbo, of course, in their 240SX. The big thing with the Comanche is the solid front axle. With it not being IFS, I'm going to have to get really creative. With this being gone, that's going to take a lot of our height out. It's really high, or really tall compared to the 4-liter. But I measured it. That needs to go in the bug. I measured it, and we have 26 inches from the axle to basically the air tube. So 26 inches from the axle to right there, right? We also have 26 inches roughly from this frame rail, which is the skinniest part, it bows in. So from this rail to that, where's it at? To that rail. So 26, 26, and then from this shallow point, this is the most forward part of the firewall right here. That's leaking in it. No, okay. Which I can't wait for this to go away. I hate the system. They could have done so much better. From this most forward point of the firewall to the core support is 31 inches. So let me get the measuring tape. We're going to do a little bit of measuring on this J35. Also, the J32 swap is way more common. Sorry if it's dark in here. It's way more common to do a J32 swap than do a J35 swap, and I think one of the reasons being is that it's not as big, but it's still pretty good size. So we'll see. So let's see if I can do this one-handed, which I probably won't be able to. So let's put you right here. So of course, this is just going to be a roundabout. I mean, I don't even know how wide this thing is. And also, these guys have to go. So really, I guess we would do fattest part of the head to fattest part of the head. So let's see. I guess we could probably say around 21 inches from the tallest part. So if we've got 26 at the frame rail, which is where this is going to sit, I think we have like way more than enough room, dude. Like way more. So of course the pan's got to go away. So let's just say from the floor to the top. Well, let's go from, let's see. Yeah, so that's about 31 inches, which I have 26, So that's about 31 inches without the, let's see, without the intake. That is, let's see. Let's see if we can get this off. Get something for that. Forgot I had the best tool known to man. Thank you, Gibbs. You are an awesome brother. Boy, I mean, it just grabbed that thing right now. That's awesome. We don't want to mess up this harness now. So we gotta make sure that, you know, we get what needs to be off, you know. I think you know what? Hang on there now. Shoo, look at that. Man, this tool is awesome. This tool is awesome. Well, what are we caught on now? Oh my goodness. I mean, there's just bugs everywhere. Oh. So, let's do this again. Let's go from maybe the bottom of that. So I think it only adds like an inch to this bottom piece right here. So that's like, let's see, 25, 26 inches. So if that's only 26, 27 inches, right? We got 26 right there. Another thing is, I'm not opposed to hacking up that hood for the intake. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. I think this will be a badass build. I gotta, luckily it's still got spark plugs in it. It still turns. I'm sorry I sound so out of breath, but I've been doing stuff, man. So yeah, so you know, the power steering pump would normally sit about right here. We might do that because it does, you know, it does have power steering on it right now. So we might convert the factory power steering to a Honda pump and then, you know, pump it through. Either that or try to get some way, try and figure out something. Well, no, because the intake's going to be right there. So I don't know. We might even go electric power steering. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, this is just a video that we can that I can put on the channel and inform everybody that stuff's about to get nuts, right? Some dude in, you know, Frickall, Alabama, and a couple others, probably Gibbs and maybe one or two more, are about to completely destroy this Jeep. I mean, rip it apart. And that's another thing that's kind of sad about it, is because I haven't even gotten to drive it enough. Like, I lowered it, but I haven't even gotten to drive it enough to really focus on this, like, suspension or any of that stuff, because it hasn't stayed running long enough. So all of this has to come off. The fenders are going to come off. The hood clearly is going to come off when we yank it. All of this stuff. If it was four-wheel drive, I would have lifted it. I mean, seriously. But since it's two-wheel drive, I'm probably going to hack that bar up. I watched a video where this guy had lowered his truck and he did gussets and welded another piece of bar onto that straight axle and took a section out of it where the stabilizer arm and the oil pan sit. So he completely took out that section, and that way it's kind of sectioned so it comes out, and then there's a bar that's welded to the bottom with gussets. It comes over underneath the pan, and then it fits back to where the stock axle was. So since it's not IFS and doing the whole S10 frame swap. I don't know. I don't think I want to do that. I don't want to get that insane with it. But maybe if I was a better welder, which I'm going to have to learn how to weld anyway because this is going to get crazy. But yeah, all this coming out. I've seen so many videos of people thinking about K-swapping their Jeep. We K-swap a Wrangler and they'll have it in the truck and that's as far as it goes. They just ditch the project. So this one, and I was going to wait to put, you know, a few episodes in it on the channel before I actually uploaded even the first one about putting the J series in this. But another reason why I didn't is because once this 4-liter comes out, it will literally be a J series Honda. I don't care what I have to do it. I don't care if I have to sell every vehicle to do it and put it on the channel and be like, hey, I've J swapped a damn Jeep Comanche. I don't care if I have to do that. I will, because I'm so tired of going on YouTube and seeing projects that people think they're going to start, and then, you know, I understand stuff happens, like, you know, I do get that, but I don't care what happens to this truck, you know. I don't care if we got to hack the whole floor out of it to fit a damn shifter. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's getting 3 pedals. It's getting a shifter. Probably putting a digital dash in it. I don't know if the factory dashboard will go back in it. It's literally just going to be a tire shredder with a J series. So, yeah. I mean, I want it to be done. I want it to be done. I've seen K-swap started. I haven't seen anyone even thinking about putting a J series in a Jeep. And it's funny because if you think about it, the J series makes more power. It's still a belt motor, you know, it's not a chain motor. Which I love belt motors. But you can go and rob a J series out of some piece of crap at the junkyard. And, you know, LS swaps have gotten so common. I mean, and the same thing with K series, but because they're so common, they're also expensive to do. And used to, sure, you could go to the junkyard, you get that and a trans and set it in there, and then, you know, maybe you could do some painless wiring and whatever. But now it seems like people know that, you know, what the capabilities of the K series and the LS engines are, but I don't think anyone really thinks about the capabilities of a J series, because they came in everything, dude. The Pilots, the MDXs, you know, TLs, the Saturn. I mean, for God's sake, this freaking Saturn. The Accords. I mean, dude, they came in everything. As long as you don't get one of the, you know, the 3.7s that just absolutely drink oil because of faulty piston rings, or the 3.5s in the Accords and the Pilots that had like VCM, the variable cylinder management crap. Normally you're fine. And dude, these are so cheap. Like, they're so freaking cheap. The most expensive one you're gonna buy is a J35a3. That's, you know, a 3rd gen TL Type S engine. It's like the holy grail. It made almost 290 horsepower. I mean, shit. This right here is 242, 240 horse, 242 foot-pounds of torque at 3,500 RPM. The torque. So, I mean, dude, like, come on, like, that thing I think makes, you know, brand new in '89. It probably made 170 to the crank, and then 200 and however many foot-pounds. I can't remember if it's 260 or 230 or whatever it is. But that thing, you have to do a lot of modernization to get it to do the same thing that this is going to do. And this one is going to be nuts. I think I'm going to get it in the truck, get it running, and then drive it, whatever, work out all the small bugs, you know, because there's going to be a lot of them. I already know. I know what's going to come with this project. This is going to be a long time But I really, really want this to be an option for people. Like, they go in Hondas, people put them in all sorts of rear-wheel drive stuff, but I really think that the Jeep community could benefit from having something that's in the middle ground of a K-Series and an LS, a J. They're cheap. You can bolt them up to a 4L60E with an adapter from Inline Pro and roll. So, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have to change near as much stuff if I just put a 4L60 behind it. But I'm not going to do that because that's not fun. That one's on automatic. That's the AW4 automatic or whatever. Yeah, don't like it. If it ran, I'd keep it. I'd keep it in that thing forever. And I wouldn't, you know, I played around with this a little bit. I went on to the Comanche pages and played around with it a little bit. But this thing is going to be freaking sweet, man. And I already had it. So that's another thing. I already had this. I didn't come out of pocket for it, honestly. How it started was I bought a MDX that had some title issues. Still haven't gotten the title for it. So it's just been sitting in my buddy Kyle's shop. And I'm sorry, Kyle. But that is an 03 to 06 MDX. I think it's 2003. Well, those came with the J35a3. They have a different bell housing than the J35a3. So Corey provided this motor and was like, yeah, this is known good, but I don't think it bolts up because after all the research I did, I think I just have a good motor that can't go in the truck. So I was like, okay. So I ended up, brought it home, the motor's locked up. It's like, alright, whatever. Brought this one. I was like, well, this motor's good, so we'll find something for it, right? So I ended up buying a Miata that needed a head gasket and some other stuff. Sold it the same day I bought it to another dude named Aladdin Lopez, and he came to the guy's house that I was buying it from. We swapped. He took the Miata and he dropped off a J35a3, and I was pretty much not out of pocket at all, and I still have it. Well, and then I posted about this yesterday on Facebook, and my buddy Isaac was like, hey man, it's got a slight knock, but you want my 08 TL Type S J35. It's like, the heads are probably still good, and I'm like, absolutely. I mean, why not? That's 3 of them. Like, so I'm bound to have a really stellar motor out of, 3. So I'm going to put this back on and put a trash bag over the throttle body and all that stuff. It's under my porch, so I mean, it's not in too much danger, but it has been in a shop, which is much more ideal than actually being out here in the elements. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. All that's coming out. I'm going to put it up on stands. Both axles are going to come out. All the suspension, because all of it needs to be replaced anyway, so it doesn't even matter. Like, I have to completely redo all of that, so I'm probably going to do the sectioning to the axle before it goes back in, and then find a CD009 trans. I've got to order the Inline Pro adapter, made it up, yank all of that out, set it down in there, make sure it's all going to sit the way it needs to sit, and then we're going to go from there. So, yeah. And as far as harness goes, I don't think I'm going to use the factory harness. I might use it to get it running maybe, but I think I'm going to go with full Haltech or Fuel Tech, something that pretty much combines like the ECU, everything. So I'm pretty sure the digital dash is going to replace the regular instrument cluster. I've got to put a column in it because the ignition switch doesn't work right, and it's broken. I mean, honestly, and I thought that maybe that could be my problem. And I promise, if you're already running through your head and you're like, well man, I saw this on this Jeep and I did the same thing and I replaced it. I understand, because I've gone through everything. I swear on my life I've done well over 100 hours worth of diag work on this thing. And I'm not tooting my own horn, but I know how electrical works. I know how to diagnose electrical. I can't figure out what's wrong with this stupid thing. It's so intermittent, but it does it like, I don't know. It's crazy. Like I can't diagnose it while it's sitting here running. It has to be diagnosed while it's running, while it's going down the road. And that's the thing. That's the hardest part about it. It only cuts out going down the road. Sometimes it'll sit here and then all of a sudden it'll die. Thought it was the alternator, hooked the voltmeter up to it. Nope. We're still 14.3 until it cuts off and then it goes back to battery voltage. I've done so much stuff. So much stuff. I replaced a lot of stuff. I've gone through the grounds. I've gone through vacuum. I've gone through all sorts of stuff. And short of maybe it being, you know, something, maybe it's a vacuum leak that's, you know, whatever. Maybe it's the one piece of fuel hose I didn't replace. I don't know, man. But at this point, I'm just tired of it, because I know that this motor is a lot less picky. That thing is so picky, man. I don't know what's up with that Renix system, but everything has to jive well. You know, 4 different sensors all simultaneously control how the fuel delivery is on this thing, and I am just sick of it. I mean, this doesn't do that. Like, the J series just doesn't do it. It's modern enough. They don't have to have that sort of crap. All that stuff controls, you know, ignition. And sure, your crank sensor went out. Oh man, okay, replace it. And I can also get codes off of this thing as opposed to that. Can't get codes because it doesn't have the system. So you're just flying blind, and I get it. But I'm replacing it, and I'm putting, to me, a better power plant on the reliability side. Because the 4-liter is amazing. It's such a good freaking engine, dude. I will not deny anybody that. It is such an awesome engine. It's probably one of the best straight sixes that has ever been built. Okay? The god-awful system that they put in place to run it just makes no sense to me. The amount of engineering that went into that engine is just fantastic. And when it runs great, it runs awesome. It's so awesome. I love it. I even like the sound of it for a 6-cylinder. I really like the sound of it. It's very smooth. But that stupid Renix system, I just can't. I can't deal with it. So we're ripping all of that out, and I'm putting a Honda J series in it. So if you watch this, hopefully you'll subscribe and you'll see how ridiculous this project is about to get. I know that a lot of people will probably see this video as they've seen a lot of other videos and some of the ones that I talked about, where they're like, hey man, I'm starting this new project. And then they get the motor test fitted in there and they're like, yeah, this is coming soon. And you look down and it's like the video was 3 years ago and nothing ever came about it. I get it. I get it, okay? I understand. I really, really hope that you understand how bullheaded I am about this, and how I do not care what I have to do to get this thing in there and get running and be able to enjoy this truck. I'm gonna freaking do it, because it's so unique. I've grown to really, really like it. I wanted a first gen S10, and I didn't know anything about the Comanche. I even forgot they existed until a buddy of mine was talking about one being in his pole barn, and you know, my buddy Gibbs was like, hey, I think Chippy still has that truck. So I messaged him. I said, hey, you want to get rid of that Comanche? It had been sitting for 6-7 years. And he said, yeah, you got $700. It's like, okay. So that's how it started. And I've actually come to really like it. I love the way it looks. I love the square body stuff. I love that everybody sees it and they're like, oh man, it's a Jeep. You know, they think it's an XJ until they see that it's got a bed. And they're like, dude, what is up with that? You know, that's cool. I've never seen a Jeep truck before. And well, unfortunately, my video got cut a little short because my battery died, and I had said all sorts of other stuff, but the camera didn't get it because of the battery dying. I didn't know that until later. So anyway, if you watch this, thank you so much. I'm just going to go ahead and end it here. This thing is going to go in the Jeep come hell or high water, and it's going to be a 6-speed third pedal truck with just tires freaking smoking, man. I'm going to beat the dog crap out of this thing when I get it running, whether it be naturally aspirated or turboed. It would be really cool to put a root style, just a root freaking blower on the top of this thing, like an Eaton or something, you know. But that might all come later. So, alright, man. I will see you guys later. And get ready, because it's about to get nuts. So if you watch this, thank you so much. I am going to go play with the dogs and eat some cold pizza and probably drink a beer. So we will see you guys next time.